TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News bulletin broadcast from Jerusalem. President Donald Trump accuses the Ayatollah regime of negotiating in bad faith, warning them to get their act together and fast. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expresses his appreciation to President Trump following their phone conversation for committing to guarantee a final status agreement would include Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs alongside their support for terror proxies throughout the region. And the Ayatollah regime in Iran is now threatening to, quote, slap the United States and Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump announced after publicly threatening the Ayatollah regime with daily strikes until they accept a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, that was offered by the American negotiating team, that he had made, quote, a great settlement of the war with Iran.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe, and it's a great thing. Stock market's up 1,000 points. That means they like the deal. See, that means they like. If the market goes down, that means they don't like the deal. But it's been up. Oil's dropped. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. I said I was in Iowa. It was $1.85 a gallon. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we're going to get pretty close. It's going to come down, and when oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this. So it was a big, very big thing. But we have a signing soon, and the documents are in pretty final shape. So we'll see. We'll see. Very good. Should be done, and should be done pretty quickly.
President Trump continued by underscoring that the Strait of Hormuz will open as soon as the deal is signed.
The Strait will open as soon as we have it signed. We've been taking out many ships that nobody knew. Even the fake news didn't know it. But over the last month, we've been taking out ships, big ships, quietly at night. You guys didn't know that. Pretty cool, right? As a captain. He knows about more about ships than I do, but it's pretty cool. They turned off the lights. We bombed their radar and everything, so they couldn't see what was going on.
President Trump was further asked on whether he was confident that a deal would indeed be signed over the weekend.
Mr. President, on Iran, how confident are you that there will be a signing this weekend? Because you have come close to sealing a deal, but at the last minute it has fallen apart. And
it'll be soon. Maybe this weekend.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
And when this deal is signed, is the United States going to immediately lift the blockade?
Yes, that's true. That's part of the deal.
And
you'll have oil prices dropping like a rock.
And sir, have you actually secured an agreement on the discussions about the nuclear material and the nuclear negotiations?
Yes, conceptually on that, and nobody's getting close to it because it's buried under a mountain, basically. They will not have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. They will not only not have, they will not purchase, develop in any way, any shape, in any way, shape, or form a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon.
President Trump also addressed his discussions with regional leaders in the broader Middle East, to include Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
I just spoke with the leaders of many of the countries that were mentioned in the release. I just spoke to Bibi. I spoke to the great heads of nations, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and others. And we're going to be talking to Turkey. President Erdogan was great. And it's really a wonderful thing. With a lot of spirit. Pakistan was fantastic.
The Israeli Prime Minister's office subsequently released a statement in which it noted, quote, President Trump spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu this evening about the memorandum of understanding being formed with Iran to enter into negotiations. Although Israel is not a party to the memorandum of understanding, the Prime Minister expressed his appreciation for President Trump's commitment that the final agreement at the end of the negotiations will include the removal of enriched material, dismantling of enrichment infrastructure, limiting missile production, and ending Iran's support for its terror proxies in the region. A separate statement by Prime Minister Netanyahu amid reports of growing frustration over rumors of concessions made by President Trump's negotiating team subsequently highlighted Jerusalem's unrelenting resolve to guarantee that the Ayatollah regime in Iran would never achieve nuclear weapon capabilities. It reads, quote, as long as I am the Prime Minister of Israel, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. President Trump and I are in complete agreement on this issue. For over 30 years, I have been at the forefront of the international struggle against Iran's nuclear program. If it were not for this struggle, Iran would have had atomic bombs to destroy Israel long ago. Iran is working to destroy the Jewish state, Netanyahu continued, and I am dedicating my life to prevent them from doing so. As long as I am the Prime Minister of Israel, this will not happen. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, residents of the central Israeli city voiced mixed reactions over the reported breakthrough on achieving an MOU between Iran and the United States.
That we will take the decision that will be good for our country and for our people, especially in the north, because right now we are living in a comfort time here in the center of Israel, but our brothers, our people over there are suffering. They cannot enjoy life like we do, so I really hope that the governance of Israel will do everything in her power to make sure they will live in peace for a long time, not for 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 year, for a long time.
I'm not sure it's so good for Israel with all the phrases, with all the details. But because Trump has a limit time for him being president, and then after he go, we don't know what will be the next. So the agreement must be different, for my opinion. I hope for a big peace. Eventually, I hope that I will be able to visit Tehran, to travel in Tehran, and to see happy Iranian people, and to see that they love Israel and want the connections. That's what I hope for.
Well, Israelis across the border are hopeful for a future of peace with Iran. It is clear that under the Ayatollah regime, which openly calls for the destruction of the State of Israel, it is simply not viable.
Death, death to America. Death, death to England.
The crowd chanting death to America, death to England, and also death to Israel earlier today attended the main Friday prayer event where Ayatollah Ahmad Khatami, a senior leader of the terror regime in Tehran, addressed the position of Iran in the face of the latest developments.
We say to Trump, we say to Netanyahu, with the slightest mistake you will receive a firm slap. This enemy does not understand the language of negotiation. It does not understand the language of a ceasefire. It understands the language of force. And thank Allah, our armed forces have shown them the language of force and will continue to do so.
Separately, in a telephone interview with a regime-controlled broadcast, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei insisted, in contrast to what President Trump was informed by his Pakistani and Qatari mediators, that the Ayatollah regime's supreme leader did not yet agree to the terms of the MOU.
Regardless of the rhetoric, threats, and claims of the other side, we are focused on the interests of the Iranian nation. We are doing our own work. Regarding the text and the overall understanding, whenever we conclude that it secures the interests of the Iranian nation, we will certainly announce it transparently. As I speak to you at this moment, we have not reached a final conclusion on this matter. This is a very important issue that is being reviewed by the relevant decision-making bodies.
The Iranian media subsequently released a list of points that were being considered by Iran. However, those terms weren't evidently in touch with the proposed MOU. Consequently, President Trump released a statement that read, quote, "The terms that Iran leaked out to the fake news have nothing to do with the terms that were agreed to in writing. What they said, including their weak and pathetic statement on having a deal, bears no relation to the truth. Very dishonorable people to deal with. With them, there is no such thing as dealing in good faith." President Trump concluded his statement by warning Iran to get their act together and fast. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. And with that, I'd like to immediately also thank all of you who continue to support TV7 Israel on a monthly basis. Your support is vital, since TV7 Israel is, of course, exclusively donation-based, meaning without your support, those production would not be possible. And therefore, if you have yet to do so, I would like to encourage you to support us with a donation, which would then in turn allow us to continue to produce our programs on a daily basis. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem also and for the redemption of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.